Welcome everybody to section 5, our last section of this course, where I'm going to talk about the OpenAI Gym and how we can use reinforcement learning to train your own autonomous agent playing games. In this section, we are first going to take a look at what the OpenAI Gym is and what tasks it contains, how we can solve a task in a simple way. I'm going to tell you what reinforcement learning is and how we can use a neural network to implement this reinforcement learning, because that's what the course is all about. And in the last video, I will tell you how you can use reinforcement learning to beat an Atari game, which is really a non-trivial task. So I think it will be a lot of fun this section. First, in this first video, we are going to get started with the OpenAI Gym. I'm going to tell you what the OpenAI Gym is, how you can install it, what kind of environment it contains, what kind of tasks you can do, and I'm going to tell you how one simple environment works, what kind of input you give and what you get out of it. So let's first talk about the OpenAI Gym. The OpenAI Gym is a collection of games and tasks which you can use to train an agent to complete these tasks or to play these games. And some examples of games are, there are a lot of Atari games in there, in which you simply have to say what button to press in every frame. Or there are also other tasks, like try to balance a ball or try to balance a stick on a card. With every environment, you can control an agent with input from Python. And every time you do this, you receive back an observation, which in the case of an Atari game would be just simply the image that's on the screen. A reward, which in case of this Atari game is you get a reward every time you hit one of these blocks on top. And you also get back if the environment needs to be reset. So if you are game over by dying 5 times in this game, or by letting your stick fall in the ball balancing game, then you have to reset your environment and you can just start all over again. Installing the OpenAI Gym is pretty easy. If you are using my Docker image, it's already included. If not, I added some installation instructions in the Jupyter notebook, and you can also go to the github.com/openai/gym installation section. Let's immediately dive in and set up an environment. So I opened my Jupyter notebook and let's get down to the part of the code. I put a lot of imports on top of here, and I'm just going to explain them. I'm not going to type them out for you. So we are still plotting our images in line. We are importing Tensorflow because we want to use it later, just like NumPy and pyplot. And we also want to do random actions, so let's import random. And at some point, we want to include some GIFs in our Jupyter notebook. So that's when you want to import your IPython widgets and your IPython display. And of course, after you installed every part of the OpenAI Gym, you can import Gym. So executing this should work. It should not give any errors. So to load an environment, you can call the gym.make function, which I have here. You can supply a name, and as a name you can pick everything that is on the environment section of the OpenAI Gym website. So I really encourage you to take a look there and try to see what kind of environments are there, what you can maybe use to train your own algorithm, your own agent. And in this case I will start with the cardball v0 environment, which is the first cardball environment they built. If you reset the environment and you ask to render the environment as a RGB array, you can plot this image using the pyplot image show. And here's your first frame, which is a card with a ball on it, card ball. So let's try to perform some random actions. There's a function called environment.actionspace.sample. And you can use this action space and sample method to get a random action. And using this, we can kind of figure out what commands are possible. and you can see what the step function in the environment does. So I reset my environment, I render my environment every time, and 30 times I'm going to pick a random action using the environment action space sample function, and I'm going to let the environment perform one step using this random action. And what I get back is an observation, a reward, whether we are done with the environment or not, whether we have to reset it or not, and some info. So let's do this for, I don't know, let's take 50 times. So what you see is that now the environment rendered a lot of times, every time we are taking a random action, and here you can see the observation. And I will, in the next video, I will tell you what the observation exactly consists of, but just for now assume that it is the distance and velocity of the cart and the angle and the angular velocity of the ball on top of it. And the reward is 1. Every frame that the ball is still standing, you get a reward of 1, which is great. You can see we are still, info is always like empty. There's nothing in info, but we still get it because why not? And done is 0. And done becomes 1 as soon as either the card moved too much to the sides, or the environment is done if the ball falls too much, or if you manage to balance this ball for 200 frames in a row. So that's our goal, 200 frames in a row. And let's try to find out when this done becomes 1. Okay, so as you can see, at this point, the angle of the ball is just too much. The environment says, yeah, you should balance it in a neater way. So better, you're just game over. So better just reset your environment. The reward keeps being 1 though, or after this one it's 0. So this is also when the environment gives a warning that you are calling step, even though this environment has already returned that it's done, so you should go reset. And from then on, let's just scroll down to see what's happening. Yeah, the ball drops. And our random actions are not able to keep the ball stable. So if you want, you are able to play a game yourself. And I made a very, very boring game with a text interface for this. And that's because a Docker image is not able to build a GUI, like new frames on your screen. So that's why I'm kind of cheating by rendering them in a Jupyter Notebook. If you install the OpenAI Gym on your computer itself, you can make a way better interface using Pygame. So you can actually play the games in the OpenAI Gym yourself without having a stupid text interface. So now you can say if you want to push the card to the left or to the right. So let's try pushing a lot of times on the 0 button. And as you can see, the agent now starts moving to the left, because it gets a force applied to the left the whole time. So yeah, that's it for the OpenAI Gym explanation about the environment and how you can start an environment. Now that we watched this video, we know what the OpenAI Gym is. We know how to load an environment. You know how to control a card. And you also know what the OpenAI Gym returns. The observation, the reward, whether you have to reset your environment or not, and some info which is empty.